This is News 8 at 9 on WCTX.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Rich Capola. Right now, here's your local lowdown. Waterbury police say they've made a 6th arrest in the murder of 17-year-old Tyvon Mosier. The 16-year-old boy is facing a slew of charges, including assault and carrying a pistol without a permit. The other 5 suspects are also juveniles. Mosier was shot to death after a fight on Esther Street last weekend. Connecticut is getting more than 90,000 doses of COVID vaccine this week. The governor says the state had requested 150,000 doses. Will this be the year Connecticut gets into the game? State lawmakers on the Public Safety Committee heard from players at the table on why they believe gaming should be expanded in the state and who should run the market. News 8 senior political correspondent Jody Latina has more from Hartford.
Behind the scenes, negotiations have already started between the governor's office and the 2 tribal nations.
Sports betting, iLottery, online gaming, all of it on the table.
We're at the 1-yard line, and we just got to punch it in at this point.
Lawmakers heard about trends, security for online bets, and recent rulings which say sports betting is a casino game. Exclusivity, a concern for the state's 2 tribal nations. Each claim compacts include sports betting.
Do no harm by bringing someone else into Connecticut that isn't currently here and not part of this arrangement that has been so beneficial to all of us.
If lawmakers include private operators like the lottery or Sport Tech into the sports betting deal, casino operators say they'll stop giving the state $200 million in slot revenues.
I would like to see Bridgeport be the mega center of sports betting.
It's a Bobby V's on steroid that would work well for a retail-based facility, whether it's in Bridgeport, whether the one in Stamford, whether it's in Hartford at the XL Center.
The state quasi-public lottery pitched hard, claiming they'll send more money to the state if allowed to have a piece of the sports betting pie, targeting 20 to 30-year-olds who live on mobile devices.
The state will make much more from sports betting if it's legalized with Connecticut Lottery.
Despite having exclusivity to off-track betting, Sport Tech says the tribes having their own exclusivity in sports gaming would be a farce.
We don't want to hand over something that we bought and paid for many years ago any more than the tribal casinos do.
Gaming negotiations are underway.
Good constructive conversations with both Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, and let's see where it goes from there.
If the governor gets a deal on amending the tribal compacts, it would still have to go before the legislature. In Hartford, Jody Latina, News 8.
All right, thanks, Jody. Hi, everybody. All right, it's kind of a frustrating snow that's out there tonight because it's not amounting to a whole lot. So snowplow operators are, for southern Connecticut, there's not a lot to push around. You guys in northern Connecticut refer to it as some liquid gold, finally making some money as you're getting enough snow to plow in northern Connecticut. Visibility's not bad in New Haven right now. Long Wharf, you can see kind of wet, a little bit of snow on the road there. Waterbury, 84 now, wet. Over the last hour or so, the precipitation situation has kind of calmed down a little bit. So a little break in the action here. You can see not a whole lot going on across the state. We anticipate that this will actually fill in a little bit more overnight. So once we hit toward and after midnight, all of a sudden little pockets of heavier snow come on down and coat things up overnight into early tomorrow. So allowing some extra time early tomorrow for some slick spots and brushing the car off, emphasizing brushing the car off. And then tomorrow afternoon, 30s to around 40, we're doing fine. Oh, it's going to get cold. The 8-day forecast coming up.
All right, and as Joe mentioned, some very cold temperatures are on the way, so Governor Ned Lamont plans to activate the state's cold weather protocol. Now, this will begin Thursday at noon, so anyone in need of shelter is urged to call 211 to get connected to a ride to a local shelter, and of course, stay with News 8 on air and online for the latest weather updates as they happen. Turning to the latest on the coronavirus outbreak tonight, the positivity rate down again today to below 4%. 1,200 more people have tested positive since yesterday. 23 more people have died. Hospitalizations haven't changed. President Joe Biden announcing plans to ramp up COVID vaccine distribution throughout the country. He says the federal government will increase the weekly supply of vaccines to states by about 16% starting next week. In addition, Biden says it will now give each state a 3-week forecast of how much vaccine they can expect. and he says his administration is ordering another 200 million doses, bringing the total doses in the U.S. to 600 million. The president says those doses should arrive by summer and will mean enough shots for 300 million people.
But the brutal truth is, it's going to take months before we can get the majority of Americans vaccinated. Months. In the next few months, masks, not vaccines, are the best defense against COVID-19.
President Biden says FEMA is working to set up more vaccination sites, and they're also enlisting pharmacies to deliver vaccines.
How was that? When are you going to put it in?
Vice President Kamala Harris has received the second dose of her COVID-19 vaccine. Both she and President Biden got the vaccine live on television to help alleviate public resistance to the vaccine and reassure Americans of its safety. Biden completed the two-dose regimen a week before his swearing in. New tonight, COVID vaccinations are ramping up across Connecticut and expanding to more people. So what can you expect when you're up for your first dose? The Yale New Haven Hospital teamed up with the Greater New Haven NAACP to host a virtual town hall called COVID-19 Vaccine, the Facts versus Fiction. The coronavirus disproportionately impacts black and brown communities with death rates of 25 to 50% higher. The NAACP highlighting the issue during tonight's town hall and emphasizing the importance of the vaccine.
It is extremely important and crucial that our communities have access to the vaccine, that we have the knowledge and information about the vaccine, and that we get the vaccine. With the black and brown communities being in the highest risk levels and dying at the highest rates due to chronic health conditions.
The state is currently in phase 1B of vaccinations, which includes people 75 years and older. Those who are eligible are encouraged to sign up for an appointment online. We have that information on our website, WTNH.com. With new variants of COVID-19 here in Connecticut, some doctors are recommending double masking. News 8's Bob Wilson joins us live from West Hartford with that story. Bob.
Yeah, good evening, Rich. One mask, two masks. Should you double up? When should you do it? How effective is it? We reached out to the experts to find out about this new trend of double masking in high-risk situations.
It's a little bit controversial how much extra protection you get from double masking.
With the new strains of COVID out there that are more infectious, doctors say double masking might give you a little extra protection, especially in high-risk situations like indoors and in tight quarters.
If I was in a large crowd, I would double mask.
But no, I would not.
Why wouldn't you?
See, that's what we said.
It'd be too much.
I would double mask for sure. I would feel more protected.
And everyone's still wearing masks, social distancing. I mean, double masking kind of seems silly.
I'm definitely for it. I think it's another form of protection.
Another form of protection, yes, but doctors say a cloth mask does not protect you, but protects other people if you have it.
And I don't know if it would be the two paper masks or if they want us to have two different, a cloth and a paper.
So if you are going to double mask, you want to wear the cloth mask on the outside. Doctors say this really doesn't protect you that much, but layering it up with a surgical mask like this, as long as it fits tightly around the nose and tightly around the face, and the cloth mask gets fit tightly around your face as well, it'll give you a little added protection. But
there might be some risk from not being able to breathe adequately enough. I think just getting a high-quality mask is probably sufficient in that.
And with the new strains of COVID, Dr. Diaz, who specializes in ocular infectious diseases, says protecting your eyes with goggles in high-risk areas is a good idea as well.
There's pretty good data now that it actually is a nidus of infection, an entry point.
And keep in mind, though, the most common way to get it is breathing it in. That's why the masks are important. And in the bottom line, end of the day, social distancing. Keep your distance, wear the mask, do the things they know that work, especially in the outdoors. I'm Bob Wilson, West Hartford, News 8.
All right, thank you, Bob. Governor Lamont seeking to extend his emergency pandemic powers through at least April 20th. Now we're waiting on a decision from state lawmakers. The 4 legislative leaders and a committee of 10 lawmakers have less than 72 hours to respond to the declaration. If they choose to veto, the powers expire on February 9th. If they don't act, Lamont's declaration will automatically go into effect. Republican leaders called the extension, quote, a matter of convenience. They want a more collaborative decision-making process.
I'm News 8 Shayna Ferreira in Naugatuck, where a meeting just wrapped up with local NAACP leaders and town leaders about those racist comments that surfaced on social media from the daughter of Police Chief Stephen Hunt. Now here's a breakdown of what we know so far. According to the mayor, the daughter's comments on social media, Chief Hunt's daughter specifically, were captured 2 years ago. They're now the center of a 3-part investigation. An investigation by the Board of Ed, the borough, and an independent party, all now tasked with looking into this matter. The child is still a minor, which is why the photo here is blurred. She's also the daughter of the assistant principal at Naugatuck High School, Johanna Hunt, so both of her parents are very well known in this town and hold positions of power. One Snapchat reads, quote, "My dad is officially police chief, so that means he's more advanced in the shooting of black people than he was a couple minutes ago." The Snapchat messages have been circulating and shared time and time again on social media since late last week, sparking outrage in the community. But one woman coming to the Hunt family's defense, saying it's all being blown out of proportion. Can you understand why people would be hurt or upset?
I can understand in this day and age, especially what's been happening in the news, but we're talking about a 12 to 13-year-old girl who privately sent something to somebody who probably thought it was funny and doesn't understand the repercussions.
And coming up at 10, the local NAACP is firing back their demands, coming up tonight at 10. In Naugatuck, Shayna Ferreira, News 8.
We're learning more tonight about the fire which claimed the life of former Zappos CEO Tony Hsieh in New London. The fire department says the homeowner, Rachel Brown, and Hsieh had gotten into an argument the day before. After that, he moved into the shed. There are also pictures of the inside of the shed where discarded cigarettes, a propane heater, several candles, a marijuana pipe, bottle of liquor, and whippets were found.
We saw the evidence of that. Whether he was doing whippets that evening or not, we can't say that.
The cause remains undetermined, and the case can be reopened if there is new evidence. A toxicology report on Hsieh is still pending. We're following a developing story out of Washington tonight. Senator Patrick Leahy, the president pro tempore, is back home recovering after a short stay in the hospital. This after he oversaw the swearing in for the Senate impeachment trial of former President Trump earlier today. He's presiding over the trial. A spokesperson said Leahy wasn't feeling well and went to the hospital after an abundance of caution. Leahy is 80 years old and the longest-serving senator in the Democratic Party. New details about a proposal to adjust property taxes in our state. The main argument, defining a mansion. Could you be able to pick up your favorite bottle of wine at the grocery store soon? We hear from people for and against that new proposal. First Lady Jill Biden is less than a week on the job, but has already jumped into her new role. On Nyberg at 9, why it's important for the country to have an active First Lady.